But in the business, I am Bola's grandmother, I believe. Yes, I'm her grandmother. Great-grandmother, actually. I'm her great-grandmother in Premier, which sounds a little crazy, but I'll explain that to you in a little bit. Just to kind of tell you a little bit about myself, I started Premier about 12 years ago, 12 and a half years ago now. And I started just because I needed to generate a revenue stream because my kids were young. I wanted to make some extra money just to be able to support my shoe habit and my clothing. I love to go to TJ Maxx. Do you like TJ Maxx?
Yeah, one of my favorites.
It's one of my favorites. Still to this day, I still love to go to TJ Maxx. If there's one and I'm driving by and I have an extra 30 seconds, I cannot help myself. I have to go in there. I just know it's going to be a good deal. Because all women like good deals, right? Isn't that true? I mean, who doesn't want a good deal? You get good deals in there. Anyway, I started doing that, and my children were about 4 and 7 at the time. And I just wanted to make some extra money, but I didn't know anything about direct sales. Do you have any experience with direct sales at all? No. Okay, then you're in the same boat as me. So I had no idea, I had no concept of what it was, what it wasn't. I really didn't have any expectations because I didn't have any knowledge. When you have no knowledge, you can not really have an expectation. I had only been to one direct sales party, so to speak, in my whole life, and it was a Pampered Chef show. And I had small children, so those stones that they sell were very popular because I made chicken nuggets all the time. Anyway, she never mentioned that I could ever sell the stuff. I never once considered that I could sell the stuff. So I guess I should be grateful because I could be walking around with a Pampered Chef stone on my head instead of my jewelry on my neck. So I'm grateful for that. But anyway, I decided to do it. And how it happened is I went to a jewelry show when we lived in Washington, D.C. And I didn't wear jewelry, not any jewelry, ever. And I went there and my friend's friend was selling the jewelry. And I listened, and my one fashion tip that I learned, and this is true, and the people that have heard me do the OP before and know this is what I say because it's true, I talked the whole time. I sat in the very back of the room, and I was rude, if you want to know the truth, and I didn't listen, and they said, big earrings make your butt look smaller. I said, well, I need that. Whatever that is, I need it. And so my children were young and I still had baby weight on. So I remember I bought some earrings and I remember wearing them and I felt really uncomfortable because they were much larger than anything that I wore and I just felt like people were looking at me. But I noticed that after I started wearing them that they were looking at me, but they really did draw attention to myself and they were flattering. And so I was thankful that I kind of got out of my box with my small earrings. Long story short, I ended up moving to Ohio, and that girl kept calling me and saying, would you like to be a jewelry lady? And I'm like, no. And I had every excuse in the book for why I didn't want to be a jewelry lady, but the underlying reason, and this is true and I can say it now reflecting back, was that I was terrified of talking in front of just 4 people, but if I had to speak to a room full of women, it terrified me on the inside, truthfully. So anyway, after 8 times she called me, I called her on the 8th time and said, send me the information. I read it. I don't read details. I just say, yeah. And I signed it. I put my investment on a credit card, and I started, and this is what I knew. I knew that my friend's friend made 50% of everything that she sold, and that she used to have money issues, and now she was going on cruises, and she was making money. And it was qualified because my best friend told me that, and my best friend would not lie to me. You know what I mean? So I knew that it was true because I trusted her. So I signed up. I put my investment on a credit card, and she called me and said, did you get the paperwork? I go, I did. She goes, well, what do you think? I said, well, I signed up. I sent my paperwork in. She's like, you did? I go, I did. And she goes, well, I only have 30 days to do your training show. I go, well, you better get here then, because she lived in Washington, D.C. She came up, she brought one necklace, and she left the next day, and there I was with the jewelry, me, myself, and I. Yikes, I was terrified. And I started selling the jewelry, and truthfully, I didn't know what I was doing, and I really did make it a point to educate myself, because when you're in business, you need to know about what kind of business you're in, so I really did I went on, there was really no such thing as online back in 2000. I mean, that's hard to believe, isn't it hard to believe? But there wasn't any Google back then. And I ended up starting to sell the jewelry, and my training show was about $800, so I made $400. I thought, I like this is working for me. I did 4 shows, I got 0 bookings at my first 4 shows. Yeah, that was not feeling so good. And then on my 4th show, a lady scheduled a show, a random stranger, and I really, that was just so, it made me really happy. I just couldn't believe how excited I was that a random stranger liked me enough to have me meet her family and friends. So I just kind of tell you those things because I think when you come into any business that you're not sure of, you're going to be terrified. And public speaking is probably the #1 thing most people are afraid of. Not having knowledge of jewelry and fashion is another thing that I think a lot of women struggle with. And time. People think, well, I don't know if I really have time to work this into my schedule. And I was taking care of my kids, which obviously is a full-time job, but I know that 60% of the people that come into Premier do it in conjunction with a full-time job. So that's good information to know. So don't feel that if you have a full-time job, you're a student, right?
Yeah.
Do you work too, or just a student?
I do consulting. Payroll consultant. I'm a payroll consultant.
Okay, so do you work 40 hours a week?
Yes.
Okay. Well, then
Sometimes 50.
Sometimes 50. But you know what I appreciate about that is busy people get things done because they manage their time much better than when you have nothing to do all day long. And it's amazing how you can just do nothing for all day and still be exhausted at the end of the day and have nothing accomplished at the end of the day. But what I like about this business is that I could work it in when I once worked, and the flexibility of working in this business is huge. And I'm just going to show you 3 things that people generally look at when they're looking at a business, and 3 things that people want to know are: number 1, how do I make money? That's a good thing to know. Number 2, how do I keep my business going? And number 3, how much does it cost to get started? So I'm just going to start off by showing you this right here. And I'm going to give you a marketing brochure that's going to have all of this in it, but I just want to show you this real quick. This is the jewelry lady, and this is the hostess. Now, in Premier, we do jewelry shows, and we can do jewelry shows pretty much anywhere. I've done them in Panera's, I've done them in people's offices, I've done them in people's homes, I've done them in churches, I have done them on a beach. I have jewelry will travel. You can take the jewelry pretty much anywhere you want, and you can show the jewelry. But typically, you partner with the hostess, and the hostess is going to invite her friends over, or her family, or the people that she works with, whoever she wants. And she's going to reap the benefits by she's going to reap the benefits by receiving jewelry as her benefit, and the jewelry lady makes money. So obviously it's win-win. We just win in different ways. Hi ladies, how are you? And so anyway, I'm going to show you what happens. An average show in Premier nationwide is about $580. Okay, I'm going to use $600 because I can divide easier using a round number. Okay, so I truthfully think though in Chicago the average jewelry show is about $600. It's a little high, they have a little more disposable income. Maybe they do in some of the southern towns and more remote areas. So the average home show or jewelry show is $600. Now we make 50%, so that's pretty easy. You can know that the jewelry lady is going to make $300 profit. What I love about this, and I don't know that I necessarily appreciated it at the time, but we get paid that night. And a lot of direct sales companies, they have to take that money and turn it in, and then they send them the money the following month in their payday. We get paid the night that we do the show. So if you need money to go to work tonight, you get money tonight. Isn't that wonderful? Because a lot of people need that money the following day for their bills. So if you have a $600 show, you sell everything at full retail, you're going to make a $300 profit. Now the hostess, we have a hostess plan. Premier provides the benefits. We don't have to give the jewelry out of our profit, and they're going to get 30%. And this is a standard percentage. This comes from the company. This has always been our hostess plan, and it will always be our hostess plan. But 30% of $600 is $180 in free jewelry. Now, what the hostess loves about this is it's totally free. I like to give this analogy. What's your favorite store? The shop. Macy's. So you go to Macy's, do you go to the full price counter or do you go to the sale rack?
Sale.
We all go to the sale rack. I would love to know the percentage of people that walk into a store and go straight to the full price. No one does that. And so we all go to the sale rack. So when you go to the sale rack, if you see 50% off, you think that's a really good deal, don't you? Do you ever see a rack that says free in Macy's? No. They never have free. But when a hostess can come to our jewelry store and she gets to go to the free rack. So I think that's really a great benefit for that. So she gets $180 in free jewelry. Now she can also earn 4 bonuses, and they're worth $25 each, and I'm going to tell you exactly what they are. She's going to get $25 in free jewelry if she schedules her show and does not change the date, which is important because obviously we all have lives. We count on this as income. When they change the date, it kind of jacks us around a little bit. When they have 10 adult guests in attendance, Premier is going to give them another $25. Now I always say 10 guests does not mean grandpa in the back room or your baby sleeping in the other room. It's 10 guests that are there. Now don't get me wrong, I do shows with you in 2, I'll do shows with you in a few, and I'll do shows with you in a slew. Whatever works best for you is fine for me because truthfully it's about the hostess, it's not about me that night. But I want her to know that if she does have 10 guests.
Those are dollars or jewelry?
Those
are dollars.
This is in free jewelry. $25 in free jewelry. Good question, thank you. Okay, the next one is if she has $100 in pre-sales. So I always tell her, if you want to invite 10 people, 1 out of every 4 people you invite will probably make it. So if whoever can't come to the show, show them the catalog. And if you sell $100 before I get to your house, guess what? Premier's going to give you another $25 in free jewelry. But the best part is that you're still getting 30% of that. So you get 30% of $100, that's $30. Plus you get $25 for having that bonus, and you get $25 for holding your date. Wow, you're up to $80, and I haven't even walked in your front door yet in free jewelry. So that's extremely generous. And then the last one is when 3 people schedule and actually date a show at your show, and you get another they have you updates on the calendar, so you have 3 shows, which is going to keep your business going. Now what happens is when you get to the show, you start showing the jewelry. And you can have someone like me there that doesn't wear jewelry. And then all of a sudden you start showing the jewelry and you create the need for the jewelry. And people realize, wow, that really is pretty. Maybe I should think about starting to wear the jewelry. And you educate women on why they should wear jewelry and how to wear jewelry. And it really does create the need for the jewelry. So even people that don't do shows typically, or people that don't wear jewelry, they oftentimes will schedule a show because they value the fact that you added value to them, you taught them how to accessorize, you taught them how to wear fashion, and so they're going to schedule a show so their friends can have the same knowledge, and then they can get free jewelry too. They get to shop at the free column. So if you look at this, here's 180 plus 100. That's what an average hostess gets totally for free. Now the one thing that hostess is responsible for, she has to pay sales tax on whatever she gets for free, and she does have to pay $4 shipping. But whatever some states have no sales tax, like Montana, and here in Chicago, I mean, and where I live, it's 7.25. But the tax is always on wherever the jewelry is shipped to. Okay, so that's what she gets for free. Now she does also have the opportunity to buy up to 4 to 8 items at half off. What I think is so awesome about this is the fact that you get to go to the free rack in Premier, and then you get to go to the 50% off rack. Now the most complicated part of our marketing plan is this. Whatever you purchase at half off, say you had a $600 show, and then your hostess decided to pick out $400 in jewelry, she would pay $200, okay, because she's buying it at half off. And she could be using that as gifts, or she could be buying it for herself. Well, that $200 is now added on to the $600, and the 30% is calculated from $800 instead of $600. Do you follow me?
And because that actually she's purchasing something, that's an actual sale, right? It's just a half price.
It's just a half price. So she gets 30% of whatever she purchased at half price. So that's an amazing opportunity. That's just how generous our hostess plan is. And truthfully, I didn't know anything about direct sales when I started in Premier. I had no appreciation for how generous this was. And then I have done some shows for other companies, and I'm like, wow. You know, it blows my mind that how much jewelry comes from, and this comes from Premier, it doesn't come from our profit. We do pay small fees out of our $300, and I'm going to explain that to you right now. But I don't know if you've ever heard, but back in the day, Oprah used to give away cars. Yeah, I love your hair, by the way. Oprah used to give away cars, and whenever you would get a car from Oprah, the guests would oftentimes be they're very excited, obviously, but then they realize they have to pay sales tax on that, and that did not get them so excited because that was obviously a lot of money. We pay a small fee so that our hostesses never have to pay a sales tax. So for this right here, we pay a flat fee of $8 for the 30%. That's what this is for, and it's going to come out of our profit. But you can have a $100 show, and the hostess will receive $30 in free jewelry. I've actually had a $4,300 show, and that hostess received 30%, and I paid $8. Does that make sense? So no matter what the size of the show, that $8 is a flat fee. But because of that fee, our hostesses never have to worry about getting a 1099 or a 1099. Do you understand? Okay. So right here, you're going to have now a $292 profit. But you're okay with that because what happens is she's getting the 30%. So that, like I said, that takes care of the income tax. I think I said sales tax earlier, but I mean I need to correct myself. It's income tax is what I meant to say. Okay. Income tax. That's the right word. Okay. So and then for each one of these that the hostess receives, we're going to pay $3 per the one that she earns. Now, obviously, if she's changed the date, she's not going to get that. If she only has 6 guests instead of 10, she's not going to get that. And honestly, I wish I could tell you that there's a certain average that the hostesses receive, but I could never begin to guess what they're going to get. So we're just going to say that our hostess, in this case, earned all 4 of them, and so we're going to pay $3 for every one. So now we're going to take out $3 times 4, that's $12. Now we have a $280 profit that we literally take home that night. Isn't that amazing? Now I want you to see, we get $280 in cash. What does she get? $280 in free jewelry. You never make money on your hostesses because those truly are the people that you're going to partner with that night. Does that make sense? Good. Do you have any questions on this? No. So truly, this is how you make money. I answered that question. This is how we make money doing jewelry shows. That's really the heartbeat of our business, and how we keep our business going is this right here. And just to kind of illustrate, and tell you my personal experience with this. When I first started in Ohio, I had only lived there for a year, so I really didn't have family. I didn't have church. I didn't have a strong support group there. And I ended up doing 80 shows my very first year in Ohio. And then
Say 8 or
80.
80.
80, yes. I actually made $25,000 that year from doing home shows, just from doing jewelry shows. And I was doing about 7 a month. So if you think about that, that's not even really 2 a week. And then when I moved here in Chicago, to Illinois, as I called it, because I didn't really know where the state was. I moved over here. I truly didn't. I mean, I knew it was over there somewhere in all those I states. I did not know. I remember getting out my map and looking. I didn't know a human being in the entire state with an Illinois driver's license, and I did 60 jewelry shows my very first year here, knowing not a soul. So, you know, I tell people, they say, well, I don't really know anybody. I'm like, well, you can meet people if you really are proactive, and if you want to make things happen, you just have to really be proactive and make them happen. And it's shocking that you can do whatever you really put your mind to. So and it's been a blessing, because not only do you obviously make an income from doing this, but you get to meet friends and family. And I mean, I have people out there that are like my family in Illinois. They know I'm here alone, and so they take good, you know, they take good care of me. They're constantly doing shows for me, and then their family, I get to know their family, and then their family does shows. And it's really taught me, when I first moved here, I thought, well, are you familiar with Route 59 in Naperville?
I live in Naperville.
Okay. Well, when I first moved here, I moved to Route 59. I thought, well, gee, this is great, because I never have to leave 59. Costco's here, Steinmart, and the grocery store. I'm never leaving the street, because I'm scared, okay? I was freaking out on 88 after living in a small town in Ohio. So the next thing you know, I book a show, guess where it is? Round Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, guess what? I was having a freak out attack.
15 minutes away.
Yeah, and that's where all my shows were when I first moved here, were Round Lake. It was like God's sense of humor. So yeah, I didn't think it was fair. But anyway, I did get the opportunity to learn a lot about Premier. I mean, a lot about Ohio. Where am I? Illinois. I learned a lot about Illinois, and I learned a lot about the tri-state and what time to go on there, what time not to go on there.
Oh, yeah, right.
Okay. I'm just going to give you this sheet right here, and I'm going to show you just a little bit about how that works. And this is just a little bit about how you keep your business going. So if you, okay, we'll just turn this around. How's that? Fresh and clean. I always tell people, you know, I want you to try kind of draw out your business plan for you. When you start in Premier, the first thing you do is do a training show or a grand opening. You can call it whatever you want. But what happens is you do a show at your house and you invite everybody that you've ever said hello to. People are never insulted by an invitation, right? I mean, they can come if they can, and if they can't, that's okay. They were still invited. So what happens is you go ahead and do a show, and we'll just call it your training show right here for illustration purposes. And we'll just assume that it's an average jewelry show, and it's a $600 sales, and you're going to make roughly around $300. So that makes you a very happy camper. True? Okay. And then the next one, let's just say if you have a mother-in-law or a sister-in-law or a relative family member. So you're going to have another family member do a show. A family member. Okay, and you do a jewelry show for them. You're going to have another $300 show. Now the other thing, I'm going to back up here to the training show. Remember I said 1 out of every 4 people you invite will be able to come to your show? Because of just schedules. It's not because they don't like you or they don't, for whatever reason. Well, I always say you can do a practice show a few days after your training show at your home. And if you do a practice show, you can invite everybody that can't come. And you don't need to have a big show. Remember, a show is only $100, but that's going to kind of be the show that you can do on your own right after because your sponsor does the training show. Bola would do the training show, and then you do your practice show. And if Bola can be there, obviously that's going to be helpful to you, but you're going to do it on your own. And you can do your practice show 4 days after. So put that one up here. And let's just say, you know what? It's a $600 show, and you make.
Would the practice show be like you just doing everything that Bola would do, but you're doing it on your own? It's like a, you know.
Yes. Right. And I always say, everybody says to me, well, can you keep the jewelry from that? I say, well, a lot of times we have older relatives, you know, and they're not interested in wearing jewelry. I said, if you can wheel your grandmother in from the nursing home, put her in there, she could be your hostess, or get grandma to come in. But a lot of times we have older relatives that can sometimes serve as a hostess for that purpose. And usually, that's nice, they'll let you keep the jewelry, or maybe they won't, but, and then you can have your second show, your first show right out of the gate. Because the best time to find success is right after you're already successful. So if you have a training show and then 4 days later you do a practice show, you've already made $600 and you've only been working in your business for 5 days. That's going to make you feel good, and you're going to have some confidence there. Now, if you schedule your family member to have a show in advance, 7 days after your training show, now you're going to have 3 shows. So say this one is Sunday, this one is Wednesday, and this is Sunday. Look, you've already made $900 and just being out and showing the jewelry 3 times. That's a pretty easy way to do it. Then I say, how about a neighbor? How do you know this is a neighbor? And I mean, you can have a neighbor do a show, and you get them on the calendar. For this is all within your first week of business, ideally. doesn't have to be this way. This is ideally. And this is in your second week of business. Okay? So you have a neighbor do a show. And maybe you have a girlfriend do a show. So now you have, look, $1, $3, $6, $9, $12, $1,500 you've made, and you've been in business for 2 weeks. Would you call that a successful business? You would. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So now it's your third week in your business. Let's see. Who else do we know? Maybe a friend from high school. $300. How about a friend from church? $300. How about one of your family members, maybe an aunt or a sister-in-law, and you have another $300. And you want to schedule these the first few weeks in your business so that you have about 2 shows every week. And what happens is it starts to develop a comfort zone, a repetition that you do the shows. If you schedule 1 show here and you don't do another show for a month, you're going to be very anxious. But if you just start swimming, once you put your feet in, you just want to start kicking and start showing the jewelry, and you're going to have a lot of fun. And what happens is you're going to feel very successful just from scheduling these out in advance. But this does require some effort when you're first starting your business because you want to kind of plan it out in advance. You don't have to follow this exactly. It's just a good way to kind of look at it. What do you think? Yeah? All right. So you can see quickly if you do 9 shows, you're going to make about $2,700. And you could do that, if you actually plan it accordingly, you could do it in about, what, 4 weeks. That's a pretty good income for working 4 times, for working, 8 times or 9 times in 4 weeks, wouldn't you say? Because you think they're not 8-hour shifts. You're only working about 2 or 3 hours every time you do a jewelry show. So when you're thinking about your time that you put in. If there's an eraser here, probably not. Oh, right. Let me see if I can find another piece of paper. I feel like Bob Barker.
You look like a magician, Donna.
We're good to go. All right, we got fresh, clean paper. We're good to go. All right. So anyway, I always like to share. That's the way that you can do the jewelry shows and how you make income. But there's another way that you can make income in Premier, and that's by sharing the business. And I'm going to show you exactly how that works by using this circle right here, this paper right here. And I say, here's you right here. How do you spell your name?
UDOKA.
Okay, so we're going to put your name right here, and we're going to just pretend that you decide that this is something that you might want to do. So we're going to pretend that you go out and you show the jewelry 4 times in a month, okay? And you make $1,200. Would that meet a need in your life?
Yeah.
Okay, you could find something to spend it on?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm sure my daughter could.
You have a daughter?
Yeah.
I can't even believe you're old enough to have a daughter. Okay, so if you have $1,200 in income, you're a pretty happy camper, true? So, and remember, you got to choose the nights that you worked because you own the business. So I want you to just think of 3 friends right off the top of your head that you know that could use some extra income. Can you think of 3 people? Don't overthink it. Okay, so I won't ask you for their names, but you can write them in there if you want to. We'll just put A, B, C. Okay, so let's just say, for example, you're having lunch with one of them and you say, oh, I made $1,200 last month by my little jewelry business. And what are they going to say? That's awesome. And then they're going to say, can you teach me how to do it?
My friends are going to say, show me.
Show me. That's exactly what my friends started to do. And I was so silly, I didn't even think of telling them how to do the business because I wanted to do all the jewelry shows and keep all the money for me. That's the truth. I'm not kidding. That's true. I wanted to do all the shows in the whole state of Ohio and keep all the money for me. I'm not lying. Okay? And in fact, I didn't sponsor anybody in Ohio. I wouldn't sponsor anybody in Ohio. I'm not lying. I wanted to keep all the money for me, so I went over to Pennsylvania and I sponsored over there. Because I figured I can't do that whole state in Ohio too, because it was like a 2-hour drive over there. And this person that's going to speak to you tonight is because I went to Pennsylvania and sponsored over there. No lie. So that's how that rolls. I mean, it's funny, but because that was the state I was from. So let's just say, for example, you share with your friends how to do it, and they make $1,200. You think they'd be happy? Your friends?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what happens here is you become their premier mother. Okay. So that's a pretty. It sounds kind of corny. I have to be truthful. I thought it was corny when I first started. I rolled my eyes and thought, "Oh, are you serious? You got to be kidding me!" But I have to tell you, there is a lot of symbiotic relationship there because in life you do the best for your children. You want to give them the best. You want to teach them the best, and you want the best for your children. And as mothers, we will do anything to help our children. True? Okay. Well, in Premier, these become your children, and we want to teach you the right way. We want to teach you how to do a jewelry show. We want to make sure you understand our policies, our procedures, who the company is. We want to teach you the right way to do it. it so that you're successful, just like you would a child. Well, in Premier, because you have this relationship with them, you train them, you teach them. We don't just recruit people. It's kind of like in the church where you sponsor somebody and you become responsible for them. So it's like, so they get to pay you 10% of everything that they make. So she made $1,200. What's going to happen then is you're going to get $120 here on the 10th of the month. It gets deposited into your bank account. So look at this. You just made $1,560 and you worked 4 nights that month. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so these are your children. So now sometimes, like just like in life, our children have children, right? So here you go. So when our children have children, same thing here. I'll just give you a quick example. Say they do $1,200. Well, they're going to make $120. And their Premier mom will make $120. And what happens is grandma up here, she makes $120 too. Isn't that awesome? So that's called 10%. That's on your first level and on your second level. And lastly, this is your third level. And we're just going to show you, I'm running out of ink here. $1,200, here's $120. Back to mom, back to that grandma, and back to great-grandma. So that is called your 10-10-10. And in Premier, that's what we define as a family. Now, we have families that go, I have people in my 20th level, I'm sure. I don't know them, but I know that I do. But you never in a million years imagine that you could ever, like, that would ever happen. But it does, and it's amazing the power of one person's decision. I sometimes think back and reflect, wow, when I was thinking about doing this, I really wasn't thinking about like sharing the business because I was pretty greedy. And, I wanted to keep all the money for me in the whole state of Ohio. So I really wasn't, I was nervous about doing a home show. But I always say God has a plan much bigger than you can ever see. You don't know what God's plan is for you. And I say, you know what, the worst case scenario is that you come in and you try the business and you do a few shows and you may decide that it's not for you. And that's okay. I realize this business isn't for everybody. But you know what? I tried this business because I stepped out of my comfort zone. I went outside of it, and I was scared. Let me not be truthful. I was scared. But I didn't consider failure as an option. I just did whatever I needed to do. And you know what? It's amazing what God can do when you step outside of your comfort zone and you just redefine who you are. And from that, I know that there's thousands upon thousands of people that have come into Premier and Premier's blessed their lives. And I wasn't thinking about them. I was thinking about me. So sometimes, you know, God could have a plan like that for you too. I always think He puts choices in our lives and we can say yes or no to them. And sometimes we just need to get out of our own comfort zone and tell ourselves yes instead of telling ourselves no. So does this sound appealing to you so far?
It's so far pretty. It's interesting. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to tell you just a little bit about the investment then. The investment into Premier is I think it's very affordable. You pay, what we have to pay is $395. $395 allows you to be a jewelry lady, okay? And that's huge because the IRS sees you as a sole proprietor. And most of us just finished doing our taxes. Not all of us are done with our taxes, but we are working on our taxes. And some of us filed extensions. When you become into the business, you also get to have the tax benefits of having a home-based business, which are humongous, and they're pretty much in the forefront of my mind right now, since I'm still working through all my numbers daily. But you also can come into, this allows you to come into the business and purchase the jewelry at 50% off. That's nice right there. That's a huge benefit. It allows you to buy the jewelry at 50% off, and it also allows our hostesses to receive the jewelry from Premier when we go out and do a jewelry show. Does that make sense? Okay. It allows you access to our Premier website, which is new and improved. They just relaunched a new one on April the 1st, and it's getting better every day. But there's a wealth of knowledge out there. There's trainings out there. There's a lot of resources out there. You can take credit cards out there. You can you can see trainings. It's just it's like I call it the Pandora's box for jewelry ladies. That's what it is when you get out there. And I would say most of us in this room have already at least been on that website at least once today. Yes, girls? How about twice or 3 times or 10 times? Yes, we've all been on there. We go on there quite often. You can see jewelry combinations. There's just a lot of information out there. This gives you. It also gets you it gets you CDs. You can put in your car. When I first started Premier, I told you my fear was lack of knowledge of fashion and public speaking. But I'm like a monkey. If you tell me enough, I can learn it. So I would put that CD in my car and listen to it and listen to it. Actually, it was cassette back in those days. Listen and listen and listen and listen. And pretty soon, it's just like a song. You know the words, the lyrics. Those words became my words, and I thought I made them up. So I thought I was pretty smart. So there you go. But when you go to the shows and you can repeat the fashion phrases, it makes you sound more credible. And it's not like it's open heart surgery.
Do you pay for the CDs?
No, they come with this right here.
So, I mean, so it sounds like you get all the resources. You're not just being like thrown out.
Yeah, you're not
people that you can, yeah.
And you get a DVD too, and that's good. You can watch a DVD of some of our very successful jewelers, and they have them there. And there's a ton of information on YouTube, and there's other resources too, but those do come with it. They also give you catalogs. They also give you order forms. And about $45 of this $395 is for supplies, and that's catalogs, order forms, things, hostess order forms, things that you need for the first, maybe your first 5 shows, 5 or 6 shows. They give you that so that you have that and you're ready to roll. The other $350 is basically because Premier does all of your tracking of your sales tax. It's like kind of like an office in the sky. They take care of the back.
Administrative thing.
Yeah, they take care of your back end. But if you think about it, there's 365 days in a year. It's less than $1 a day. So it's a pretty affordable investment into a business. It does get you everything, but it does not get you jewelry. Okay, so there's 2 different packages. Well, there's 3 different options that you can come in with the jewelry. Well, when I first came in, I was nervous because I didn't wear jewelry. Okay, so I thought, well, if I'm going to go shopping for a car, I want to get in the car. I want to drive the car. When I go into the TJ Maxx, I want to put my shoes on. I want to walk around in them and see if they're comfortable. I want to try them on. So I'm assuming that when I sell jewelry, I probably should have some jewelry on my table. Would you agree? Mm-hmm. Okay, because you want to try it on.
Because this jewelry looks different, like in the catalog versus when you get it.
Oh, honey,
it feels different.
It does. Yeah. It does. And if you don't have an eye for jewelry, which I didn't, it's certainly, I needed to try it on, I need to play it, I need to wear it. So I came in with a package that got me 70 pieces of jewelry, which is our large package. It's 70 pieces of jewelry, and the retail value, if you were going to just purchase this jewelry out of the catalog, is roughly around $2,300. That's the retail value today for that package. But for a new jeweler, now for all of the jewelry ladies in the room, if all of us decide to purchase that exact jewelry, we would pay half of that. So that would be, what, $1,150. But for brand new jewelers, they let them buy it for $750. It's a $750 investment. And it's really a very good investment because it gives you 70 pieces. And the thing that I didn't appreciate then, but I do appreciate now, is that Premier gives you 5 different types of jewelry. You know, some women wear gold, some wear silver, some wear two-tone, some wear bling, and some wear beads. Now, I just thought a necklace was a necklace. I didn't consider that there were that many options of a necklace. Obviously, I know that now. But you know, you need to have those different types of things on your table in order for everybody to find something that they like. Does that make sense? And so anyway, they give you they give you a lot of different jewelry. They give you large jewelry, they give you small jewelry, and there's something for everyone. Now, when my jewelry came, I thought, well, my taste is exquisite, of course. Everybody does. Well, then I got this, and this was like a God hitting me over the head by a 2x4. I got these big pair of gold earrings, and they were, I mean, let's face it, the earrings I wore were smaller than my fingernail. They were big, and they had like a loop on here and a loop here, and I told my girlfriend, they just sent me those earrings because they can't sell them. They're so ugly. That's why they sent them to me. That's what I said to I swear to God, that's what I said to her. So I put all my jewelry out on my table just like they told me to do. Exactly. I had elevation. I had everything just what they told me to do. I did it all. And I was nervous as heck. And I remember my neighbor, Vicki Cantrell, I still remember to this day, came over and she picked up those gold earrings. She goes, Donna, these are just beautiful. She was from Kentucky. These are just beautiful. Look at these. And I'm like, yeah, they're nice. It was like God hit me over the head with a 2x4 because it was like, it's not about you, Donna Marone, get over yourself. You know what I mean? So whether you like the jewelry or not, it doesn't matter. They send you what sells. But I truthfully can tell you that they do send you what's in the gold package right now is phenomenal. Okay, so this is called the gold package. I don't know if I mentioned that. The next package is the silver package, and that's a good buy too. You get 40 pieces here. It's obviously like the mini size. What did I write? 40 pieces, P-I-E-C-E-S. Okay, that's 40. I'm sorry, my handwriting's horrible. And what happens is that has a $1,200 value. And so obviously we would purchase that for $600, but new jewelers can buy that for $475. Okay? And the last way is that you go through the catalog and purchase whatever it is that you like at just a pure 50% profit. Now, if you notice, this gives you an extra 30% discount. This one gives you about an extra 25% discount. And if you just purchase out of the catalog at a plain 50% off, you're just getting the 50%, and there's no additional discount. And they only let new jewelers buy that when they turn it in. They purchase their jewelry when they turn it in with this right here. So I want to kind of show you that. $395 is what you have to pay, okay? If you purchase the gold package, you're going to have an $1,145 investment. If you buy the $395 and you get the silver package, that is $475. This is roughly about a $900 investment. This is roughly around a $1,200 investment in town. Okay? So I want you to go back to over here.
That's 4 shows.
That's 4 shows. You're smarter than, yes, you're smart. So if you think about it, you really can pay that off within 4 shows. If you want to do 4 shows in 4 days, you can do it.
Within the month, and then like the rest of the year is just like,
it's a profit into you're right, it's a profit. So I always say this is only a $300 difference and you get 30 more pieces here. This is truly a better way to come into the business versus this right here. but it all depends on obviously people's personal finances. Now on either of these packages, Premier does offer credit, and you can do 6 months with no interest. You just have to pay it off. Oh my goodness, look at that pregnant girl. You're gonna give birth tonight. You look beautiful. Anyway, so anyway, this gives you anyway, you can put these on a credit card, 6 months, no interest, and you can do it, literally go online. All you have to do is know Bola's last name, and I'm hopefully you can spell that because I can't. And her jeweler number, and you go online, and truthfully, you can apply for the credit card right there. Now, I used to be a financial analyst, and I am all about keeping my credit score way high. I say if I have good credit, this is a good time for me to use the credit, because why would I want to take money out of my pocket when I can go out and do 4 shows and pay it back, and then I don't have to take any money out of my resources. So if you have good credit, this is probably the one time you really do want to use your good credit.
That's right.
And then pay it back. And as soon as you pay that investment off, you know what I tell people? That's it, good, close the card and go get a Southwest Visa card, because then you get free flights, okay? And you can fly everywhere for free. Kelly actually is the one that introduced me to that concept, and I have one for my personal account and one for my business account, and I fly free pretty much everywhere I go. So, I mean, this is a great, and they do give you reward points for Premier, but I'd rather fly free than get free catalogs. How about you? So anyway, that's a good way to use your credit to your advantage. So how does that sound so far? Pretty good? The one thing that I do want to talk to you just a little bit real quick is just a little bit about the company. The company was started in 1985. And when I came into the business, this is true. I didn't care when it was started. I didn't care who started it. I just want to know how can I make money, and tell me how to do it right now. That's all I care.
That it's reputable, that it's been around.
Yes. But to me, it was already reputable because my friend's friend sold it. You see what I mean? But it is a very reputable company. It's 100% debt-free. Okay. Its purpose is to enrich lives, and truly, it's not about the profits. They value people for who they are, not for how much they sell. We do, we always recognize people that do have top sales. But that doesn't add value to our company. I mean, our company truly is about enriching lives. And enriching lives is a very subjective thing. What's enriching lives to Bola may be different for you, may be different to the ladies over here. And it really is to meet your needs in your life. It's an amazing company. They do stand behind their jewelry. They have something called a golden guarantee. And the guarantee is that if you purchase a piece of jewelry from the company and a stone falls out or a clasp breaks, they take care of it. Well, here's the interesting thing. I just received a package in the mail 2 days ago. It was a beautiful package, nice envelope. My customer sent me a necklace that was in the catalog 4 years ago, perhaps, the Serenity necklace, for those of you who know it. And she said, oh, this got caught on my daughter's high chair. Well, that's not a manufacturing defect, obviously. That's because she broke it. That would not be something that would cover under the guarantee. So I just tactfully called her back and said, you know what, I am so sorry that happened to you. That necklace is no longer available, and I have to just be truthful. That really wasn't a manufacturing defect. That was, you got it caught on something, and it's high fashion jewelry. The necklace was $39. But I would be happy to sell you another necklace that looks similar to that for half off. It's not against people breaking the jewelry. I mean, I've caught my jewelry on doorknobs and things like that. That's not what the golden guarantee covers. It covers a stone falling out, a clasp break, something like that. But for a $35 necklace, a piece of jewelry, you can't expect it to last forever. It's a $35 piece of jewelry. It's not from Tiffany's, you know what I mean? So I do respect that the company stands for that, and that they put people before they put profits. And that's a really nice thing to know. A lot of companies say that, but they don't do it. But I promise you, Premier really does. So anyway, that's pretty much all I have. Oh, I forgot one critically important thing. If you sign up now, they have a special. And if you come in with the gold package, remember the $750 package? Premier gives you an additional $200 in free jewelry. If you come in with the silver package, you get an additional $150 in free jewelry. And if you come in with just the jeweler's choice, you just come in with $395, they give you an additional $100 in free jewelry. And that is only effective until the end of the last Friday in April. Okay?
I wish there was that package when I signed up.
But it's a great opportunity just to add some more pieces to your table. And this is just a survey right here. And if you don't mind filling this survey out, I'm going to give you a free piece of jewelry for coming. How's that? And then this is the other thing I always tell people. This just tells you a little bit about if you need some creative ways to come up with money. This is right here for that. And then this is just some other information about the
That's what I have another camera, but I wanted to come in.
Oh, so glad. And I wanted to, what else? I wanted to,
No, I there's some kind of